This call is being recorded.
It's a woman I did an interview with, not the last one, but the one before that, called Forces,
Okay.
where we were talking about like Paul Edith Cooper and all that stuff.
Okay.
But
Is she gonna come on like be soon, or like we gonna wait for a little
yeah,
bit?
she might. I just told her, I just gave her the pin and everything, so she might be calling in any second. But yeah, we were talking about some interesting stuff about posse comitatus laws and the United States military when it comes to contract stalking, and a lot of people skip over this issue because if you really wanted to have somebody being stalked, the best way to do it is to have some military skills and some military application. So what better to hire than veterans?
Right. Exactly.
Served in Vietnam, served in Iraq. That's what they did, was stalk people.
And they've got the skills to be undetected to the average person.
Undetected. Right. A military personnel, especially if they have special forces skills, a police officer can't keep up with them.
Right.
Some of these people have military intelligence backgrounds. The FBI can't do anything, can't keep up with them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
when
what
civilians, and then sometimes you have active duty. I've seen instances where there's been active duty military recruiters, like Navy recruiters and other types of military recruiters participating. And when you have civilians giving orders to military people, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When you have regular people who live in some neighborhood giving orders to military people, that's insane.
Well, and that's because with the whole situation, it's not really the military, so there's no chain of command. They're not doing it under the oversight of anyone other than whatever group is behind this, whether we want to say it's Homeland Security or something like that. It's like an organized crime structure. So these military guys, if they are involved, would be more like capos or something.
My grandfather. Go on. I'm sorry, Josh. I didn't mean to cut.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's like once you agree to be a part of it, the military thing goes out the door. Except for your background, you're recruited for your skills, and not for your allegiance to anything. You're just recruited because you have this background, and so you're an ideal fit for it.
Exactly. My grandfather retired as a colonel in the United States Air Force, and he went into the Korean War as an officer through the Officer First program, and he decided it would be better to go get into the war and get involved before the draft came. And growing up, I used to go down to the Vikings Lodge area with him. He had a boat down there. We used to go sailing all the time. My interpretation of military veterans is that these were very law-abiding people. But with this contract stalking stuff, this stuff is scary. To think that there's actual people out there who murdered people in foreign wars following you around.
Right. It goes worse than that though, because I can tell you, even within active military, there's some recruitment. There was somebody in my family that was in the Army, and he told me when he was still in the Army in his barracks, they pulled him and some other people out, took them to a separate, sectioned off barracks area, and said, we want to give you these tests. And so they gave them a series of psychological tests that he described as very odd. Like some of them would be pictures, for instance, like you might see a drawing of somebody leaning out of an apartment window or somebody walking down the street in a trench coat, and you would have to tell them, what do you think is going on in this picture? And he said he felt like what they were looking for was a particular psychological profile. And I guess if you met this profile, you would get taken from your position in the Army and sent into this special project. He
Another
didn't get taken.
Another embarrassment to the Army.
Right,
I
right.
tell you.
But no, he didn't get selected. But he said he felt like they were looking for people who would probably do this type of stuff, or be somebody who would be willing to be like a Manchurian candidate of some sort. So the Army was fascinated by a guy who in Vietnam. His name was Lieutenant William Calley. You can read up on this. He took it upon himself to slaughter an entire village of civilians just with his machine gun, like mass shooter type scenario. And they were looking for people with that profile from that point forward. So there's a lot of stuff like that, experimental type things going on that have like leaked. They've kind of leaked into the public.
I know a guy. I'm good friends with a guy. He was in the Army. He was in the Army Security Agency during the Vietnam War, and the Army Security Agency doesn't exist anymore. But the Army Security Agency did exist back in the 60s. And the Army Security Agency was very sophisticated. They had military computer equipment that kept records of how many Vietnamese they captured and killed, how many Viet Cong were in certain villages.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, like this was Google before there was Google. Like know, he was smarter than Google. He had more information than Google, So but this guy was like really crazy. Like he used to have SKS rifles, and he would talk about how he would file down the pin and turn the rifle into a fully automatic machine gun. This guy can make silencers out of lawnmower mufflers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know how assassins put silencers on guns? He was making lawnmower mufflers and making silencers. Yeah, some of those sets are really crazy.
Yeah, it underscores that point about some of the strategies and some of the technology coming out of the military is getting passed off to organized crime. I mean, that's a very valuable thing if you think about it. If you want to stalk somebody, whether you're a criminal group or the government or wherever you want to say that it is, and you've got somebody that knows how to do that, then that's an untraceable skill, because nobody's going to, the FBI is not going to be like looking for the serial number. They're not going to find it. If it's just coming off that homemade lawnmower part,
There's people out there in the Navy SEALs and stuff, they know how to kill somebody and break the person's teeth and hide the teeth so they can't identify the body. They'll gut the person, throw them in a body of water, then the acid and the bubbles don't rise so the body never floats up. They'll have two different guns and shoot somebody so the cops think it's two shoot. I mean, these guys are smarter than the FBI.
Right. Right, they're super smart forensically.
Right. Exactly. But the interesting thing about the Manchurian Candidate I really liked was the fact that, the movie The Manchurian Candidate, it was about the Korean War, but these people were being put under mind control in Korea and then sent back to America, and like they were under communist mind control. And this was, I guess, what the MK Ultra was supposed to be based off of. Did you see the movie?
I didn't see the movie, but my sense is that the MK Ultra really started first with the Nazi research, and then the communist countries picked up on that research, and they were a little bit more hardcore about it, and they probably exceeded the research that the Nazis had done. And when we were over here, like with the church hearings and stuff, where they were saying, "Oh, we stopped this, et cetera," it was kind of a pivotal point because I feel like in the late '70s, that was actually when the communist uh, people were coming over, and they were starting their experiments here through people who were either double agents or they were just immigrants who were under the radar, but they got the Eastern view of this involved with what the experiments that are being done on these American kids. And the only way I feel like they were able to do that with impunity is if the family itself is already in a state of capture somehow. So, if the family was like in debt to the mob, or the family had an agent that would, committed treason, there was some type of blackmail situation where they were able to come over and continue what they were doing sort of just in broad daylight over here without anybody picking up on it. And, I think if the whole truth ever came out, and I don't know the whole truth, but I feel like if it did, I think people's minds would be blown, because there are things that happen that you don't even think it could happen, because you think like a logical person, like, well, this is broad daylight, or this is a public place, or there's people that are watching, or there's cameras around. And the thing is, they have ways around that. I've experienced in my own life that they have ways around it. Where you think this can't be happening, somebody's got to see this, and they're just like, no, we believe your story, we believe what this person is telling us, and it's okay that you're 12 years old and we're taking you onto a military base. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to raise an eyebrow, basically. And I think that is part of the problem of what a lot of people are up against with some of the stalking, is that there's some type of plausible deniability that goes so high. You really do have to take down somebody who's high up enough that nobody would believe that they're involved with what they're involved in, if that makes sense.
Right. And there's already laws on the books, like, Geneva Convention has laws, not just posse comitatus, but Geneva Convention has laws about stuff like that.
They do, and what's horrible about it is that when you're in that situation, you may know that that's true, but what you see all around you is that they're getting away with breaking those laws with impunity.
Right.
Like, they don't care about the Geneva Convention. They're getting away with breaking the Geneva Convention. They're getting away with ignoring posse comitatus. And it's like it goes back to, if we go to a person who doesn't know about it, then, our stories are like unbelievable. You got to talk to somebody in authority who knows nothing and say who all's involved. They're not going to believe you.
Well, it's just like that guy, that movie Broken Arrow, and the whole movie was based around the guy Broken Arrow, and he was supposed to be some sort of military hero, and now he's in federal prison because he was having children as sex slaves.
Mhm.
He was kidnapping children and chaining them up and starving them and using them as sex slaves. But Broken Arrow was a whole movie based off of him, and he's supposed to be some sort of goddamn hero.
Right.
I don't get it.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what to call that. I don't know what it's like, willful ignorance. Just rah. Like, if you've done this service or you're in this position, you're automatically a good person. Or if it's something else, but I kind of feel like it is partially the status thing, because you see that happen with smaller cases where, like, let's say it's a person who's being abused by a family member, and everybody around them, when they come out, they say, well, but your dad is a pastor, and he's like the biggest car dealership person in this region, and he's an upstanding member of the community, so there's no way he's doing that. Period. That stuff happens to people all the time. All the time that happens to people. Like, oh, your dad or your uncle or your mom couldn't be doing that. They're a doctor. They're a lawyer. They should know better. You know, but if they are that person, they actually, even if they know better, they also know a lot. They know how to get away with what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all kinds of professional criminals running around. They can do whatever the hell they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just seems like, you know, the cops aren't much smarter. I mean, the criminals are smarter than the cops now.
Right.
Criminals make the cops look stupid.
Oh yeah, you know who else makes them look really dumb? I don't know if you watch some of those people on YouTube that are doing the First Amendment audits, but I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen a few where it's like the person filming was maybe kind of being a little bit of a jerk and was a little bit in the wrong, but for the most part, the cops will just roll up on you and be like, why are you walking down the street? And you're like, because I have a right to walk down the street. You know, like, well, let me see some ID.
Right.
I haven't committed a crime.
Right. Why are you walking down the street? Because I'm crossing the road.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've heard some really off the hook stories in recent times. What do you think was going on with that Long guy? What was his name? Kevin Long, or the Navy Yard shooter or whatever?
Was that the Navy shooter that was down in Texas?
Yeah, what the hell was going on with him?
It could have been like
under mind control or something.
Maybe like a Myron May type situation. I mean, I feel like if a person is mentally unstable, it doesn't matter if you're a target or not. I mean, if you've got mental problems, you could still probably feel targeted. But to me, the shootings, I always do sense that there's something happening to that person that has sort of intentionally like set them off. And I don't know if you want to call it sort of a subtle orchestration in their life, that their life being scripted for them, or there being some theater or some outside pressures. But I feel like in any case, the person has like reached their psychological limit for like anxiety, anger, depression. There's always a trigger behind somebody pulling a trigger, and I think what the media misses, the media covers up what those triggers might have been, or they kind of couch them in terms of, well, you know, he was going through a divorce and his wife was trying to take custody of the kids. And when you hear that happen over and over again, you think statistically there can't be this many people that just emotionally go off the rails like that and decide, well, my kids are being taken away, I'm going to go shoot up like 90 people. You know, it just doesn't really work like that. Most people going through divorce or ill health, like they might get depressed or angry, but they struggle through it. They don't pick up a gun and say, "Here, let me make my life worse." You know, let me potentially go to prison.
You want to hear something really weird? Where I live at in Norton Shores in the Muskegon County area. Above Muskegon County, there's a whole other area, and 4 men have been kidnapped in the last 18 months.
Really?
No, 4 men have in the same area. 4 men have been kidnapped, like every 6 months or whatever. One gets kidnapped or whatever, but they've all been kidnapped.
Are they
4
like
men were kidnapped?
Do they fit like are they on the same like age bracket? Are they the similar profile?
Yep, they're the same age group and everything. They all kind of, there's something in common between all of them in some sort of way. You can just tell by looking at them. And the police said in the newspaper that they didn't think the cases were not related or connected. But it happened all in the same area in a 30-mile radius. So 4 men kidnapped in a 30-mile radius within 18 months, but the police don't believe it's related. I mean, they're missed. They're not saying they're just saying men are missing.
Right. It's like, I mean, this is not completely related, but it's like the the Johnny Gosch case that I talk about all the time. Like, when he got kidnapped, there had been a pattern of people around his age, young boys, getting kidnapped. In I think he was in Idaho actually, or yeah, I think it was Idaho. He was kidnapped. Some people around him were kidnapped, and then there were the people in Lincoln, Nebraska, that were being kidnapped, and that whole scandal broke about the Franklin Credit Union and Larry King, who they were like
Oh,
in
I remember that. I remember that with the conspiracy asylum documentary. I think I remember that.
yeah, and the police in Johnny Gosch's case were actually obstructing. I mean, they would tell his mom, we think he's just a runaway, and they would tell the volunteers, don't search for him. Don't search for him. You're not going to find anything. And anytime she'd try to get to contact with them, they'd treat her very disrespectfully, which is very unusual. That for a case like that, you'd think the police would be very sympathetic to the mother and say, I'm very sorry, for your current loss. We're going to do everything we can. But they would get up in her face and be like, why don't you drop it? Your kid just ran away. Just drop it.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of weird stuff. Did you see that? I want to ask you a question. Did you see that weirdo that keeps talking, that weirdo in England that keeps talking about me on the internet everywhere?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I don't understand what that deal was about. You think he acted like he was a good Samaritan or something, but if he was, why didn't he just drop it? Like, you did what you did.
I don't know how this individual keeps contacting me and saying, I'm in touch with the police. I called Silent Observer. I'm in touch with the family that you went to court with. I'm getting emails from them. And he keeps contacting me, and I haven't spoken to him. I haven't communicated with him. I never spoke to him. Mm-hmm. He originally contacted me in 2015, like mid-2015, for an interview. And he was acting really weird. Like, he kept saying, I want to interview you, but then he kept saying other stuff that made me feel uncomfortable, and something just told me, don't talk to him. And then when I stopped talking to him, it's like he just went nuts and just started making all these weird YouTube videos about me. And he has videos about me with, like, in the YouTube videos, there's, like, pictures of black transvestite women with white women with red hair. And this is around the time when I was being gang stalked, and the people doing the contract stalking were doing like some really, really weird interracial porn theme stuff. And I'm mixed. I'm black and white. And, this guy in England, he's really, really, really racist. He's a big racist.
Oh, really?
He hates black people. And he said he was in touch with the police, and whoever these people are, they really hate black people. And I've been a member of the ACLU and the NAACP for a long time. And I got a sister. I have a sister who worked at the Muskegon Heights Police Department. And I'm showing her this stuff, and she's just like, what is going on?
That it's very bizarre sounding because, I don't know if you've heard like the latest what's his name? James Charles. There's like this guy who's kind of like flaming gay guy, and he got into a fight with this lady that they used to be friends. And they're just tearing each other down on YouTube. And I feel like a lot of people that do this, even in sort of the truther or the conspiracy movement, are people who have some kind of programming or something where they feel like they're just compelled, like they're like a dog with a bone where they think they've got something. When they don't know the person, they don't know the person's background, they've never had beer with the person.
Listen. There was a TV show called Unfinished Business, and it was created by Suge Knight. Suge Knight was the record executive producer at Death Row Records. I respect Suge Knight. I always loved Suge Knight's work, and he always had talent. Snoop Dogg, Corrupt, Tupac. He always had very talented artists. Okay, but there was a younger man that was auditioning for Suge's TV show, Unfinished Business. And if you go on YouTube and you watch Unfinished Business, the part where they start, the guy with the red shirt and the black sunglasses, this is supposed to be on VH1, where Suge Knight grabs him and they're beating on him. They're not really trying to hurt him. They're just messing with him. That guy contacted me. I know
really?
him. He's an actor. He's an actor. He contacted me and told me that the Stephen Wordsworth guy in England was in a private chat room sending death threats to me and bragging about it, and people were emailing me, calling me niggers all day. I had a bunch of white racist people sending me death threats, calling me nigger, and I know Stephen Wordsworth was behind it. He's a racist and he hates black people.
That's pretty intense. That's like because I mean from the stuff that I know from my past, I mean I definitely know that there's sort of a Klan uprising happening right now across the world. But to see it get to be like so concentrated, where you don't know where it's coming from, where it's like a one individual, you bring it down to that level where it's on the individual level, and they have the deniability, and they can say, well, I'm not an agent, or I'm not a Klansman, I'm just some guy who thinks he's justified. It's pretty scary to me. I mean, it seems to me he's on a mission of some sort, because he was normal.
He's on a racist. He hates black people, and I was being harassed and stalked by I think some of these people might be affiliated with a racist extremist movement. This is up for investigation for racist hate extremist crime.
Mm-hmm.
But I was getting phone calls and emails and text messages, people calling me nigger this and nigger that, and the whole time this was happening, the guy that I was just talking about, that was on the TV show, on Suge Knight's TV show, he called me. He said, "Man, I got to tell you something, JBL." I said, "What?" He said, that guy, the obsoletist, he didn't even know the obsoletist name. He said, that guy was in a private chat meeting telling everybody how he was sending you death threats.
Wow.
The whole time.
I wish you had taken screenshots. That's the only thing I wish you'd gotten screenshots of it.
I got it. I got the text messages and emails and stuff. I got it all on file. And I got I got an associate who's a black lawyer. I got a black lawyer looking into it, and he hates racists. I got a black lawyer looking into it, and he got friends at the NAACP.
Good. That's, I mean, from my perspective, I don't know everything that I maybe subconsciously knew about this, but I remember being very triggered by the shooting that happened in Dallas, where there was that guy holed up in El Centro College, who he was a black guy, but I feel like that was a setup. He was out there shooting all these cops, and when I saw that happen, that's when I actually immediately joined the NAACP that year, and just was like, this is not going to happen, because it's a setup. All these shootings, have you ever noticed every shooting is a setup that is some kind of cultural argument that people are not talking about, and so they want to take the conversation, and instead of us waking up and having the conversation with each other when we should have, we don't have the conversation until everybody's pissed off. Like, we could have talked about it before, but now somebody's dead.
Right.
And
right. And
that
to
me.
I just want to say this. I just want to add this part, Josh, to it real quick. I'm a Rawls, and we got a history in Chicago. A lot of my family lives in Chicago. My cousin got the star on Hollywood Boulevard, and every time they disrespect me, every time this racist in England talks about me, he disrespects all these black people all over the country in America.
Mm-hmm.
This racist disrespects a lot of black people in America. I hope Interpol knows about it.
Definitely, because you know what? It's like, if you're not some type of agent, it's like, get a fucking job, dude. Like, get off the dole, and go get a damn job at H&M. You know, go like fold some shirts for a living. Don't sit around like harassing somebody across the pond like it's your God-given mission to do it. You know,
Right.
like what kind of person doesn't have any time on their hands other than to like stalk somebody else?
You know, I had to deal with racist police officers in my court trial. I had to deal with racism. I had an all-white jury, only one black person. I had to deal with a lot of racism.
Mhm.
You know, I'm tired of racism and the death threats and the stalking.
I don't blame you, dude. And you know what? It's only getting worse right now under Trump because people who support him feel emboldened by him being president. There's so many YouTube videos of people just like, you be the Dollar General and they'll call the police on you, or you're sitting in the airport and you're talking to your mom in South America and some guy will be like, speak English, God damn it. And it's like, well, you know, we're supposed to have rights in this country. We have a constitution. We've already solved this equality problem. Now everybody's trying to drag us backwards, you know, and they're trying to make it so inflammatory. It's like they're trying to get us into a civil war. Basically, they're trying to get us into a race war and a rights war, and we got enough problems dealing with each other as Americans. We don't need somebody from like some other country coming and chiming in on it. Like, mind your own damn business, dude. You know, mind your own business unless you've been paid to do what you're doing. And it kind of sounds like this guy is getting paid to do what he's doing because,
I mean, something's going on because people were used, like, when I was being harassed, and I had all kinds of people telling me about, like, man, there were these weird people paying people to follow you around, and people were telling me about it. And, you know, it's like all his stuff on YouTube about the interracial thing and stuff, he's using that stuff. He got the like cars on his videos. I was talking about how people would drive by me, they kind of look at me. If you look at his YouTube logo, it's an eye looking through an O. And he can never speak on YouTube and show his face. And I hope the black Muslims in England know he's a big racist.
mm-hmm.
But my cousin's a big Sunni Muslim in Michigan, and I hope the black Muslims in England know he's a racist.
Well, you know, if they watch your videos, that message would certainly get out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously the thing that gets me is it's like if I had an issue with somebody who was a YouTuber or whatever, I mean, I would actually write that person compassionately and say, hey, do you want to tell me like your side of the story? You know, I would like create an environment for them to do that. I wouldn't just like go on the offense and say, I know this and this about you. Like that comment you showed me where he's like, I'm going to release the Jamil Rawls porn tapes. I'm like, oh, so you are an agent because somebody clearly, if you think you have porn, first of all, they would have had to have given it to you. There's no way you could have acquired it on your own. And second of all, are you going to violate YouTube's community standards and put pornography on YouTube? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dumbass? Yeah,
Right.
not to get sorry to get cursing. I didn't mean to, but it's just like you can't just. That's just a hollow threat, in my opinion. It's a hollow threat. I mean, I could sit here and be like, yeah, it's aggravated stalking,
sexual harassment, cyber stalking, racist stuff, aggravated stalking. I guess the Ku Klux Klan could just do whatever the hell they want to do on the internet.
Mhm.
You know. I thought I saw it all.
This is a messed up world right now, Jamil. It's like everything that's happening is happening for a reason, but it's happening for a bad reason. And I feel like I want to tell people that there is a sting operation. I know you always tell me, Josh, don't say certain things. You must have protection, blah, blah, blah. Well, I do. And I guess I'm here to say that some of this stuff that's happening, you may not feel like good about it right now, but I promise you that like justice is coming. Justice is coming. And I'm not going to say anything more than that. I'm not going to name my handlers. But there's some high up there serious people, and if you guys want to keep playing with the devil, you go ahead, because you're going to get stung. Period.
Right. See, this guy is one of those old-time Jim Crow racists, you know, where he doesn't believe black people have the right to even talk or anything, you know.
Mhm.
If it was up to him, black people would be doing sign language, you know.
Right.
You know, and they love, and racist people like that love Uncle Tom House type Negroes. You know,
Mhm.
racist people like that just love house Negroes.
He just wants you to hop to it and be like, "Oh yes, sir, you caught me. Oh yes, I was in the wrong." I mean, that's some crap right there. And I mean, again, Jamil, like the fact that somebody in England is continuing to be involved with this is highly suspicious. Highly, highly, highly suspicious. He has no business messing with your life at all. No business at all. And to me, I mean, just yeah, I just feel like there's a targeting, there's a thing that you're targeting that you don't know about, and I don't know what it is. But for it to be across the pond like that makes me very, very suspicious.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very.
Exactly. That's what my sister said. My sister used to work for the Muskegon Heights Police Department, and I was showing her, basically, I was telling her about everything, and she was like, "This is crazy. You don't even know this guy, and he's in a newspaper article, and you didn't even really do anything illegal, and you got set up, and he's on YouTube sending you messages like this, and you don't even talk to him. Like, that's crazy."
Right, it is crazy because you know what? Even if I believe your side of the story, but let's say that something happened that somebody construed to swear that. Like your case was such an everyday case that in some jurisdictions the judge might have been like, you know what, I have time for this fucking shit. You know, like give me something where Jamil had a gun or Jamil, did this and this, and there's evidence of it, but they don't have anything like that on you. They're taking what's essentially your word against hers, this bitch you didn't even know, and it's almost like a jaywalking case, and then they're blowing it up into a conspiracy. It's almost like if I stole a package of gum, if I stole some gum, I would expect if I got caught for stealing some gum and my face got put in the newspaper, that some asshole in England would be like, "Yeah, Josh was caught stealing gum. That proves he's a part of this and this and this and this. I'm going to write to him and tell him he's a piece of shit." You know,
it doesn't even like to be honest with you. This is my first question. It doesn't even matter about my court case. What is he doing involved with? Why is he so? Why does somebody who lives in England so involved with somebody who lives on the other side of the ocean, getting police reports and threatening me and doing unwanted contact and making all these YouTube videos and stuff? Like, what the fuck is that coming from? And the simple fact that he got some police reports from when I was 17 years old. And, me and some guys took some beer out of a garage when I was 17. And it was stupid. I can admit that. It was immature and it was childish and it was stupid. But we didn't break into anybody's house. The garage door was open. It was attached to a house. We were already drunk. We were 17. We were in high school. And we knew there was some wine in the refrigerator. So we went in.
Exactly. It's like, I would say to Stephen Wordsworth, I bet you did that in Manchester a number of times.
That's what I'm saying. He could be, right. He's like a paranoid, we feel, a lot of my family members feel he may be a paranoid schizophrenic or have some other mental illness because he's ordering police reports from when I was 17 years old. And how did he get the police reports from the Spring Lake Police Station? He didn't get those by himself. Him and some sort of racist group are doing this. Some sort of hate
sounds
group
organized.
Hate
he's
black
like
people.
he's like their patsy, basically. He's a patsy for them.
Right.
This is some blown up shit over nothing. This is like hounding somebody over a jaywalking citation. Like, who hasn't gotten drunk and stolen some beer, at one point? Not everybody, but some people have. And is that like a murder? That's not murder. That's just like, disturbing the peace teenage crap that says nothing about who the person really is. And if you're going to like harp on that and harp on it, this is proof that
I
I'm
explained
right.
at my trial Look, man, when I was at my trial was a 2-day trial, and I got up on the stand in the trial, and I said, man, I don't know this. I said, I was very respectful. I said, I don't know this woman. I've never even seen her before in my life. And the jury, which was mostly white, and the whole jury, like, there were ex-federal people and ex-police, like the whole jury, damn near everybody in the jury box used to be a probation officer or a parole officer, and there was only one black person. And, you know, the prosecution lied about everything. And the prosecution is not even in the newspaper. You know, they didn't even put it in the newspaper. It was a whole different process. So the whole thing was set up somehow. And then you got this obsoletist guy harassing me on the internet. I don't even know him. But I was in the courtroom, and I said, I don't even know this woman. You know, and that's the whole thing, is this obsoletist guy, Stephen Wordsworth, he doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in America. This guy's from England. I mean, he could be. Maybe he lives here. Maybe he's one of the people following me around. Who knows? But why would an individual from the United Kingdom be so involved with something going on the other side of the world?
Right. Right. No, I mean, we see cases on the internet all the time where we just are hanging out and watching stuff, and I've never, for once, thought to myself, I'm gonna write to that person and be like, I know you're guilty. You know, I know you're guilty. Screw you. I'm gonna find all your videos and I'm gonna find out your life details. I'm gonna spread them everywhere. It's like, why?
And the
why
police
is
report, and the police, why does it? Okay, so the police, the North Shore Police Department, they sent Stephen Wordsworth in England a copy of the police report. Why doesn't he put the police report on the internet?
Right.
Why doesn't he put the court transcripts on the internet? Because all you have on the internet is his little weird stalking, racist YouTube videos. Then you got the MLive ad, which the prosecutor they switched everything around. Then they're saying it was a younger girl in the MLive ad, but it was a 29-year-old woman in the police report. Like, all you have is the MLive ad, which is fake and false. Then you got his racist, ignorant videos. Why doesn't he have the police report and the court transcripts on the internet?
Very good question. If he cares that much, he ought to put it out there and analyze it.
Exactly. He shouldn't make any YouTube videos. He should just put the police report and the court transcripts on PDF and let the whole world see it.
Exactly.
And all they got on the internet is his harassment, racist, unwanted communications towards me, then the MLive ad, which is racist too. You know, and that's all they got. Why don't they put the police report and the court transcripts on record? It's public information. Anybody can go get them.
Right.
They can go get them and go on the internet. At my trial, the judge told me, he told my jury, he said, you can talk about the case as much as you want to when you leave the courtroom. Well, if that's the truth, then why can't the obsoletist put it on record? And why can't the obsoletist, Stephen Wordsworth, put the police report and the court transcripts on record? There's nothing illegal about that.
No, not at all.
The whole world can sit there and talk about the case on the internet. It's public information. Everybody knows about, everybody can know where everybody is, that's public information. Why isn't that on the internet? They didn't even put the people's names in them live at.
Yeah, they need to do that because it's
more
crap
racism,
otherwise.
More racism.
Man, I saw that stuff you posted. I was surprised, man. The stuff that you posted where they dumped the trash out. You know, you were showing all the dolls and the jump rope and stuff like that.
Yeah, he can sit there. He can sit there for the rest of his life and being racist and making all these weird videos. But where's the police report and the court transcripts? Why can't why can't he put all that on record? See? Why is the MLive ad fake? See? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. It's like he's got no business being involved, really.
Right.
Because he got no
business making all these YouTube videos about me and making contact with me and all this stuff and threatening me, and then I'm live, that's fake. It doesn't make sense compared to the police report and the court transcripts, but the police report and the court transcripts aren't on the internet. And it's public information. Everybody across the world can get a copy of the police report and the court transcripts and put it all on the internet anytime they want to. It's public information.
Right.
And they can do a Freedom of Information Act on everybody.
So yeah, man, absolutely. So if you're listening, there you go. Go get the fucking court transcript.
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if he's listening, man. I don't give a damn if he's listening. He's a racist, and he offended a lot of black people in Chicago and in Muskegon, and he's a racist. And they're all finding out about it. NAACP's finding out about it. But you know what I'm saying, John?
No, I get you where you're coming from.
Right.
It sounds good. It sounds like a setup. I mean, it's like you got some prominence doing what you were doing, and somebody wanted to shut you up, basically.
Yeah.
Just like he said, he's like, "Oh, if you don't want me to comment, then why don't you stop posting videos?" I was like, "Yeah, bitch, why don't you stop posting videos then? Because we're gonna comment back. We're gonna clap back."
And I don't got any problem. And I don't have any problem with. And I'm not a racist person. I don't have any problem with white people. Matter of fact, I'm a member of the Republican Party.
Are you really?
But I'm not political. I became a member of the Republican Party just so I could do research through the Republican Party. But Donald Trump and his wife have been sending me letters in the last few weeks.
Oh, I know about that.
Yeah, the Republican Party in Washington has been sending me all sorts of letters and stuff, and I became a member of the party. I became a member of the Republican Party. I don't got any problem with white people, but I don't like that. I don't like that racist, sick, weird stuff. That's what I don't like.
Well, is that lady gonna come on, or are we gonna just kind of continue on with what we're doing?
We'll change. We'll go in a different direction. She said she was busy, but let's say, I just want to leave. That's my thought on that. That's my thought to the public, to the world. Before anybody watches another video of mine or watches whoever, go get the police report and go get the court transcripts. The North Shore Police Department got the police report, and the 60th District Court in Muskegon County got the court transcripts. They can go get the whole case and sit there and talk about it all over the internet all they want to and figure it out for themselves.
And don't forget, too, man, if you want me to convert those to a PDF, I can do that.
Yeah, go get them and convert them into PDFs.
All right.
They're cheap too. Instead of making a million YouTube videos, instead of somebody sexually harassing me and threatening me and making unwanted contact with me and all this stuff, why don't people just go get the case and study it?
Right.
Somebody shouldn't have to sit there and make porno videos about me. Got all my family members. Got my grandma. Got my aunt. My aunt over in Muskegon Heights. My aunt, 60-something years old, sitting there watching some white freak in England make porno videos about me. That's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's out of control.
But anyway, though, so I wanted to get your perception on the ultra-terrestrials. What do you think about that? Like the woman was talking about the ultra-terrestrials versus extraterrestrials.
Honestly, I didn't understand what she was talking about. I mean, is she talking about people who are blending in, like, just with everybody else, or what is she talking about?
She's basically talking about interdimensional beings.
Well, I don't have any experience with that, so, I mean, I honestly, unless I've experienced something myself, I tend to just keep a a curious mind, but I don't necessarily say that I believe it. So, and the other problem with me too, like I've told you in the past, it's like in my childhood, some of this agenda with the alien stuff was faked with me. So, they would try to use that as a cover-up for the abuse. They would be like, oh, there's a person in a mask, or, we've put you in a cardboard box and made these noises and made you think it was aliens. So I've reserved judgment on anybody's opinion about that until I've actually experienced it for myself. And I can tell you personally, I've never experienced anything truly paranormal, I feel like, in my life. All of my memories tell me that anything that was supposed to be paranormal was being faked by someone to make me believe in an agenda that they wanted to use that for. They wanted us to believe that there were aliens. They wanted us to believe that we were hybrids. And my skeptical scientific side was just like, no, not true. I'm a human being, and these pictures and these images and these drugs and these things that you're doing to create these psychedelic experiences have a basis in scientific fact. They have a basis in psychology, and you're trying to create a paranormal experience that didn't happen. And I say that for me only, and anybody who listens to this who feels differently, that's great. Maybe you actually made contact, but I personally have not. I've never met an alien. I've never been abducted. I've never believed or wanted to believe. I mean, everybody kind of wants to believe. That'd be kind of cool if there actually were aliens, but it's like I just don't. I haven't experienced it, man. It didn't happen to me, and I feel very bad knowing what I know about how some of these people will fake those experiences. They'll fake anything for you. They'll fake. I mean, I even had a fake Jesus experience actually when I was a kid. So what does that tell you? It's like anything that's your spiritual guide. If they want to fake it for you through LSD or anything else, they'll do that. They'll 100% do that. And then when that happens, you no longer have any credibility with these psychologists or the doctors, whoever, who'll basically say, well, that's great, that's your spiritual stance, but, it's not real, is what they'll say to you. And I feel bad for the people who had genuine experiences, because somebody like me would be living proof that it can easily be faked and you have no way of knowing the difference. So I just have to keep my mouth shut about it, because I don't think that most people have their memories to that degree. I don't think they have, a lot of people don't have their memories of how those things can be set up. And a few times I've talked about it, people are very upset with me, so I just don't say anything, and I keep that to myself.
Right. Yeah, it's gotten into a thing to where, like the extraterrestrial stuff, it's all over the History Channel now. So,
right.
In the article, going back to the article where basically it was character exploitation, but they were saying Illuminati cover up of black extraterrestrials. Like, first of all, what is the Illuminati?
Right.
What does that mean? And, I'm a conspiracy researcher. I know what Illuminati means, but they just put the word Illuminati in the newspaper. Like, why would the Illuminati have anything to do with black extraterrestrial cover? That doesn't make any sense. So they said that, and then I was talking about the Olmec statues, and I did an interview with Brad Johnson about black extraterrestrials, and Brad Johnson does channeling, and Brad Johnson brought some information to the channeling session saying black extraterrestrials existed, and so that's all I was doing. And you know what? I want to say one more thing. That video that the Steven guy made, the racist video he made about me, where he said the criminal prosecution concepts in the video. He did that to me to embarrass me, because I do interviews with Rob Gautier from Kalamazoo, and Rob channels Treb, Rob is a professional psychic who channels an energy that describes itself as Treb, and Treb oftentimes, in the channeling session, Rob will always use the word concept. Like, we understand these concepts, we get these concepts. So Stephen, the racist in England, he took that and put it in the video. And like, he thinks black people are stupid. And he put it in the video. Yeah, he thinks black people are stupid. And he put it in the video. And you know, he thinks blacks and Hispanics are stupid. You know, he probably really hates Hispanic people. And he said in the video, he said, the criminal prosecution concept, he was not only mocking me, he was mocking Rob Gauthier and Kalina Angel and Treb Chanley and E.T. Whispers.
Mm-hmm.
E.T. Whisper, you know, and Rob's a good friend of mine. And but in the article it said Illuminati cover up a black ex. Like, what does that mean? Like,
yeah,
that is racist. That's racist right there, because the History Channel talks about extraterrestrials. What, you can only have white extraterrestrials? You can't have black extraterrestrials? You know what I mean? Like, that's racist in itself.
It's creating. I mean, it's also creating. It's creating the racist meme, because none of us know, unless we've been contactees, whether there are black extraterrestrials. That's what I mean. Like, me personally, when they were faking it, they never showed me somebody and said, "Oh, this one's black," you know, or this one's Native American. I mean, it was always just the theme with the grays, and to me, that was just a motif for them to usher in what they're doing with Project Bluebeam, which I can't go into detail, but I mean, there is technology that can do holograms and make you see things that aren't really there. And that's controversial in itself, because people will again say, well, you're telling us that you don't think aliens exist, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I have no proof, but what I do have proof of is a big push by the military to create an alien scenario that you will believe is 100% real, that it will be done by smoke and mirrors, and anything they want to take with that, if they want to make it about race or about gender or about anything else, they'll get people's minds hooked into it, because when you think it's an alien race, you're going to naturally think that you've got finally a mirror to look into and say, well, let me compare myself as a human to this thing, right? And if it's not really there, if somebody's putting it in front of you as like a CGI created object, if you don't know the difference, you might believe anything that it tells you. It could be it could be a channel for propaganda. And so I try to stay very, very cautious around any discussion of what's going on with the ETs, because they are working night and day through Hollywood makeup and Hollywood robotics to create entities that you could, in a moment of being drugged or being traumatized, believe those things are real. And I think that I'm telling you that, but that's what I keep to myself with the UFO people, because if I tell them that, they'll be like, well, you're just a jerk saying that it doesn't exist. You know, you're just saying that it's what you say it is. And I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I have not had what I believe is a real contact experience. I've only seen how they're faking it, and they're getting ready. They're getting ready to show us fake aliens, and they're going to use that. The Catholic Church is going to use that to rewrite religion. They're going to use that to rewrite all social norms. They're going to use it as a psychological force to overwhelm people.
Matter of fact, I'm going to put the case number to the misdemeanor stalking case. I'm going to put the file number in the description section, so everybody can get the file number and go get the case files on. But Josh,
okay.
Would it be okay with you if we take a small break so I can use the bathroom thing?
Yeah, that's cool. I need to take a little bit of a break anyways. We can come back in an hour or so.
Okay. All right. So,
all right.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Josh. Like, I'm so glad we were able to get together and do this. So we'll have a part 2 Like, I'll text you in like 45 minutes or something, and we'll prepare for the next hour. Or if you need a little more time, we can do, we'll do that.
Okay, that sounds great.
Oh, okay. Talk to you in a little bit.
All right, you too.
All right.